Hello and welcome to Brick Digest. Today we're going to be talking about this. This is the Lego Technic Bucket Wheel Excavator. It is set 42055. It has 3,923 pieces and retails for £179.99, which means it comes in at 4.6 pence per piece. This is one of the largest, if not the largest, Lego Technic set ever released. As you can see from the size and scale of the box here, it is absolutely ginormous. And it's also very, very heavy. It comes, like many of the larger Lego Technic sets do, it comes with the gatefold box, and inside you can see more detail about the model and the detail that tells you that it is an unbelievable 72 centimeters long when completed. It is also almost entirely motorized. It can drive itself. The bucket is motorized. The tracks on the bottom of it are motorized. The swivel motion is motorized, which means that if you are a big fan of Lego Technic, then this is a great model to sink your teeth into. And with that in mind, let's start building. Okay then, let's open this thing up and find out what we are dealing with. 3 bits of tape on the side. Oh. Okay. Is going to be it. I think that's okay. That's everything. So as you can see, we have a significant number of bags here and one white box. Now, we learned from building Big Ben that the reason for the white box with all the bags is just the way it's packed at the factory. It means that this part of it is pre-packed before the rest of it, so everything is put into this box, and then this box is passed down their production line along with all the bags for final assembly. So just because there's a white box doesn't necessarily mean it's anything interesting. Here is the manual. It looks as though it is one single book as well. So this is the instruction set. There is the thickness of this one gigantic book. It is 550 pages. There is also this set of stickers. So this is, it's just under 4,000 pieces, so 3,900 and something pieces. So this is a significant size set. Although it is less pieces than Big Ben, the difference here between this and Big Ben is certainly going to be that not everything in this set is a 1-by-1 piece. So hopefully that means that there's going to be a lot less repetition than there was in that piece, and hopefully that makes the build much more interesting. So, without further ado, let's just go for it. And we are done, and here is the completed build of what we are now referring to as the Beast. As you can see, this set is absolutely gigantic, so much so that I'm struggling to fit both me and it within the same shot. It is not only very, very long, coming in at 71 centimeters, but it is also very, very tall and also very, very heavy. I shall lift up the set here very carefully, just so you can get a sense of the scale of this thing. It is very difficult in photographs to really get an idea of just how big this thing is, but hopefully when you see it next to me, it will give you some sort of idea of what you're dealing with here. From a build time point of view, it took around 15 hours on and off, a couple of hours a night over the past week and a half, 2 weeks or so. It's been very difficult to find the time to concentrate on building this set, which is one of the reasons why it has taken us so long. But you also have to consider that this is a formidable model and that you're probably going to have to set aside significant time to put it together. And if you are a new person to Technic or a new person to Lego, then I'm going to recommend this is probably not the place to start. As well as the main model, there is also this. So this is a little dumper truck that comes along with this. It also comes with a pile of bricks that can go in here, which ultimately the excavator can try and pick up, although we'll come to that later. This is almost identical to a separate Technic set that Lego released recently. That version was yellow. There's slight differences here on the front cab, but the mechanism here for actually opening the tipper part of the truck is identical. So this is bag 1. And then this model here is the other 7 bags, or the other 7 numbered bags. In total, I think there was about 25 bags or so in total. And also this very significant manual. So this is a single manual, no separate books for different parts of it, just this one giant instruction set with 550 pages. Most of the difficulty comes from the level of concentration required and making sure that you're following the steps correctly. As long as you think that you can make sure that all the cogs are facing in the right direction, that all of the struts and connectors are put in exactly as the instructions say they should be, then you might not have too much difficulty. Ultimately, the model, when finished, is also motorized with 6 batteries in a motor box that sits here on the end of the arm. And there are a set of switches here which control the motion, which then go down to these slip gears that are here. When that power is then transferred through the rest of the model, through all of these different struts, there are sections then down here. Those 3 struts then come down onto different connectors, which in turn makes the bucket turn. The bucket, of course, or the buckets. The buckets, of course, are then meant to turn and pick up any rocks, except Lego rocks. They then drop onto the conveyor belt. The conveyor belt then runs them all along here. They fall down into the conveyor belt that's underneath, and that conveyor belt then takes them out down into the waiting truck below. While the bucket is turning, the whole thing also turns round, so it rotates on a set of cogged plates, which is a new Technic piece here, which it runs along, so the entire thing turns around, which means it's possible, of course, to lock the lower conveyor belt in place, so that as the whole upper section is turning round, the lower conveyor belt is then locked in place, so that when pieces fall off, they can continue to fall off onto the waiting truck below. As well as turning in each direction, and the buckets turning and the conveyor belts going, the motors are also capable of driving the entire structure forwards and backwards. Now, what you're probably thinking is, that sounds like an awful lot for this little motor on the back here to do, considering the size and weight of the model, and you would be absolutely right. it is a stretch to be understating it is a stretch for this motor and all of these parts to come together to make this all work. So, well, what we have here is a fantastic looking Technic model and a build that I very much enjoyed. What we have is an actual finished product that doesn't quite live up to the expectations that you probably have for it. The reality is that there is so many things going on in this, so many cogs, so many connectors, and such a ultimately one single small motor for a giant structure that it's just not capable of keeping up. Despite many hours building this thing and then probably about another hour and a half trying to debug it, I have not yet been able to work out how to get everything to run smoothly. If I just turn over to make sure we get this correct, I will demonstrate this. The experience that I've had with it is simply that the buckets just do not turn reliably. So if we switch on the motor here, we can go ahead and I'll demonstrate driving forward first because that's one of the more successful parts. So we have our motor running, and if I push that forward and push that forward, we'll go the other way. Then you can see that the model is indeed driving across the table. Now, that's fantastic that it is even capable of doing that when you consider just how heavy all of that Technic Lego is. And it's not at a particularly fast pace, but you can imagine that a real bucket wheel excavator is hardly hammering it down a motorway either. So this can go forward and back by switching that switch on the top. So if I turn that, then you can see it starts to reverse again. I'll switch that off just now. So as well as moving forward and back, and that works successfully. We can also move the bucket arm up and down. Now, moving this is not motorized. This is a manual cog on my side of the model, and there are two arms which can extend or retract, which are holding up the model, and this is reasonably quick. You can see there as I drop it down, you can see the model dropping. It's a little disappointing that that's not motorized when everything else is, but as you can imagine, considering they seem to have struggled to get everything else working, I'm probably not surprised that they didn't go for that one as well. So that's, let me just put all that all the way up. So then we have the motorized buckets itself, and like I say, despite spending about an hour and a half trying to work out what the problem is, I cannot reliably make this work. So what we do is we will switch that one to there, and we will move that to that position, and so there you can see that the bucket is turning, but it just keeps getting stuck all the time. So the experience there is just not what you would have expected for a mod, and now it's completely stuck and is not moving at all. The experience there is just not what you would have expected from a flagship Technic set. I would have hoped at £180, where that's not an insignificant amount of money, that it would just have worked out of the box. Now, I am perfectly willing to admit that I have made a mistake in here somewhere. There are so many things going on, so many parts, so many instructions, that it's very possible that I have something not quite in right. But I have been through every single cog, I have checked as far as I am aware everything is correct. I have gone through it from the point of view with the brick separator, where I have gone through this and I have made sure that every cog is not too tightly pressed in against the surface. There is enough room for things to move, but yet despite all that, I either get stuttery movement or it ultimately just gets stuck and the slip gears up here just don't move. From a point of view of trying to actually dig something, it's almost impossible. It's very difficult to demonstrate it because clearly a bucket wheel excavator is designed to dig things out of the ground. So putting Lego pieces flat on the ground, the buckets tend to just keep pushing the pieces away. But it's reasonably possible if you're able to kind of cup some pieces in your hand and really kind of give it as much advantage as possible. It is possible to at least pick something up, but since everything keeps getting stuck all the time, you don't really get that nice experience of it collecting all, and they were nice enough to give you a big pile of rubble to do this with. You don't really get that experience of it picking up rubble, taking it all the way through the system and dropping it into the truck at the end, which from a play point of view, if you're buying this for your kid or you are a kid that's watching this, that's what you would want to do with a bucket wheel excavator. That is its purpose. Much the same as if you were building a digger, you would expect to be able to at least dig some Lego pieces and actually use the machine as it's meant to be used. But as it stands, it just doesn't work 100%. So in conclusion, it's a bit of a mixed bag. The build is fantastic and the finished model is very impressive. You simply cannot get any Lego Technic set which is bigger. And if you have even a passing interest in building your own Technic models, at only 4.6 pence per piece, it's an excellent way to build up your own Technic collection and get almost 4,000 pieces all in one go. You will also learn a lot from building it. Putting it together teaches you an awful lot of good, solid Technic building techniques. But unfortunately, the fact that the main function of the model doesn't work lets it down. If I could actually get the conveyor belts, the bucket, etc. to all turn correctly, then it would be a wholehearted recommendation. But since as it stands, it almost functions. It can move back and forth okay, I can lock the lower conveyor belt, and I can see that when the buckets do turn, the conveyor belts turn correctly and the model turns round. But the fact that it keeps on sticking all the time, and I cannot see any reason that I have done to make that happen, I just think that if you were a kid who was getting this as excited to put this set together and that was your finished model, I just think you're going to be very disappointed. And for that reason, you're probably better going with one of the smaller sets where at least you can guarantee that it's going to function correctly. I will be interested to see whether or not Lego address this issue and perhaps release some sort of instruction for making it better. I have seen various members of the community already who are doing lots of wonderful things with this, including full remote control and fixing the buckets by replacing different cogs, adding additional motors, etc., which you would think is something that Lego themselves could have considered when putting the model together originally. I would happily have paid a little more for it to include a second motor, for example. And that's us done for another video. Please do subscribe to our channel. We are posting videos every day in August in order to encourage you to subscribe. Subscribing is free and it ensures that you see all our videos as soon as we release them. You can also post a comment down below if you have any questions or if there's anything you would like to know about this set or any other set. Please do also give us a thumbs up as it helps YouTube know that we are a channel worth watching. If you would like to read the written version of this review, then head over to brickdigest.com where you will find this along with all of our other reviews and all the latest Lego news. You can also follow us on Facebook. We are facebook.com/brickdigest, and you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at brickdigest. Until next time, thank you for watching. Goodbye.